Ancient MOUZ versus Cloud9, the Intel Extreme Masters Rio 2022. It's a quarterfinals. This is our first day in this big-ass arena, so we might as well do it proper and jump right into the action. Inferno it is with Launders and Scrawny.
Thank you so much, Stunna. Thank you, Maui Snake. Thank you, Bled. Hell, thank you, Brazil. We've got the fans queuing in. We've got Cloud9 and MOUZ ahead of us, a quarterfinal, and a tale of two teams. One who was unstoppable from start to finish in MOUZ until suddenly it looked like they weren't going to step over that finish line. Cloud9, nobody faced defeat closer than they did, and yet they held on. They grinded their way forward to this quarterfinal. A lot of people have this as their open road, but it's time to figure out whether MOUZ can stump them early.
Yeah, they've seen death so many times, stared in the face, and still have overcome. So, looking to see what kind of team they're going to be today, I think is the question. I don't think in their minds they're worried about the thought of being able to be better than MOUZ. I think they know that, and I think MOUZ know that as well. There's been a respect across the board, but I think like Axel said, it's like, let's not beat ourselves. And so, we'll see. Now that we've switched arenas here, we've upped the antes, the win becomes more real. Is that going to affect Cloud9 and their normally fantastic Inferno games?
Silence so far towards the B site. Everybody holding what they have. Hobbit going to respond with some utility here. It is, of course, a smoke ahead of the T's. MOUZ will not respect it. They're going to try to press into Shiro. He gives up that first coffin spot. Hobbit, a third of him gone, but the nade will find its home. Almost enough to kill Dexter, but he'll stand for now. Falls back into the side of sight, and we get the old 5v5 retake to get this quarterfinal going. There is a flank from Exertion, and he just started walking at what could be the perfect moment.
Oh.
However, Axile waits. Chops down the first. We've got the first blood, the way of C9, but bomb plant, if that counts, well, that's in the hands of MOUZ. JDC is going to get this one going. 2 headshots to his name. Axile with a team kill and left on his own versus 4. That retake had nothing compared to JDC.
Yeah, bad start for Cloud9. Have a TK in the first round. Their tactic looked pretty cool. They had Hobbit throw his first grenade to soften up the first target, then a second nade for the bomb plant in that specific zone. And it doesn't do enough damage to get the kill. That could have made the 5v5 retake a little bit easier. Things get awkward and tense as the clock bleeds down, and honestly, even if kills did go their way, there was less than a quarter left on the bomb, and feels like it came too close. But either way, Cloud9 come into it this next round with a force. We're talking about Cloud9, who played against Heroic on Inferno, where I gave them a compliment of saying that they were playing like they were playing online. That's how perfect the CS was on their T-side comeback, as pointed out by Maui. Really unbelievable scenes at that moment, but a good CT side is what we know they're known for. It's a kind of a great clash, fire and ice here with MOUZ Sports, who have put up some of the best T-side so far in the major.
Yeah, good point. I like that. The impenetrable defense tested by the best of these T's. MOUZ again, double up, in from Shiro. A little bit of money and a little bit of a warning maybe. When the pistol goes that easily for MOUZ, nobody had yet been smacked or stunned. And now with that, at least 2 kills to Shiro. It's also going to rack up some money for his op. I think that is an interesting conversation when this head-to-head comes through, right? We want to say fire and ice. Well, we can isolate the oppers in that regard. Shiro has been unstoppable, and Torzi, despite being touted as being an up-and-comer and showing us great things when this roster first formed, this has been a rocky event for him. So we'll give him the label of ice.
Been very human, absolutely, and I think in the big game that they needed him versus Vitality, he showed up. On the games on either side of that match, he really wasn't there. And I think the most interesting thing is looking at MOUZ Sports' his whole team on an individual level. There's no apparent hard carry, really. We had Exertion in the Challenger stage with a 1.40. We had Dexter on this last map to get them to qualify over Ents on Mirage with 31 kills. An aberration compared to a lot of the other matches he's played recently. But nobody's been consistent all the way through besides Frozen. And Frozen himself is not putting up Shiro numbers, not even Axile peaks, but just good enough that because this team of MOUZ Sports has shown to be so good, they aren't relying incredibly on their individuals, which is nice. But the conversation gets a little testy when you go up against a team of elite caliber like Cloud9.
Shiro ponders middle with the Desert Eagle, falls back from that. It's going to leave Axile's back sight. Inter's just beneath him. The support of supports is Inter's. And a nice stacked up sight. Frozen continues to just move forward here. Nothing seen so far. Little pillar will reveal itself, and off the flashbang, Inter's activates. That's the warning for Bomb to go back. And in doing so, it'll find Shiro again low because of his first foray down middle, and waiting for some kind of a desperate rotate. Cloud9, little to lose here, try to run out. Dexter very quickly catching the headshot of the counter IGL. They're worried about the pit, it's not occupied. Shiro's been dealt with. All the 3 remaining CTs over towards the arch end. MOUZ have gone and done it. They find this open A site. They get through nearly unscathed, and that's gonna be the 3-0 start.
My absolute favorite thing about MOUZ Sports, watching their T-sides, their Inferno games, where we've seen so many Inferno picks and deciders coming out against MOUZ, and they've been happy to play it. It's on T-sides, you can just see how much they've dry run, and I think you can't give that kind of compliment to that many teams where everybody is struggling on the attack to stay organized and not fall apart when they lose a kill. MOUZ Sports are that team right now. And we're going to see a lot of R traps in this half, a lot of B attacks that look like they have crystal clarity on how the round will end. But as this goes on, lots of damage here from Cloud9. So Foregne's knocked off the board, and Hobbit keeps an AK.
Yeah, think about that. We had 4 MOUZ members in the site when the 3 Cloud9 guys left with an ump. At the end of the round, it's Hobbit with an AK, easy rifle upgrade, and only a sole survivor on the MOUZ end. So sure enough, leaving that A site was actually more lethal than getting into it to begin with. So we'll add that damage up, and MOUZ buy in as Cloud9 have rifles for the very first time.
Yeah, I mean, that bomb is giving people nightmares, but it has made it a little bit more interesting now post-plant.
The old habits die hard. We've seen dozens of professional players still fall to it. And the exits will continue to deliver. Nice push from Hobbit through the smoke and almost in with a second. You know, Torzy's been pressed into that smoke grenade, waiting to maybe line something up. Dexter tries his hand. Exertion in the meanwhile comes rocking up, immediately coming in lane, and he's gonna get the better of Inter's. We have all this fight going on in the background, and it's actually Exertion to just press in. Missed shot. Come on, Torzy. Those are the sitters. He's looking down ramp. There's 33 health left on him, but it doesn't even matter what's going down on Banana because Dexter brings in through the bomb, and it's all Exertion. It's all him. He slides through, finds his pocket, and walks away with MOUZ on a 4th, denying Cloud9 and their rifles.
Yeah, it was Exertion's trade allows him to smoke Moto down, and there's no chance to retake in. Inter's had a few seconds to try to win that, and Exertion wasn't looking in his direction either, so I was going to say, in terms of the entries, first of all, right here, it's a beautiful. They do have a gap on lane. They're not spotting it from March. Axile's taking a deep angle inside of Halls. So this one Liberty, I guess you could call it, swinging in that position, makes a lot of sense when you look at where Axile is standing. But they must have had a read on the situation. Now, JDC coming out of Halls was one of the coolest things to watch. Funnily enough, they played against Outsiders. I think they lost the map. And JDC went like 14 and 19. Yeah. I think 14 of those 14 kills was all Norbert sitting in pit, sitting in graveyard, and they won rounds behind it. So even though his overall performance wasn't that good, there has to be something said for being able to be an effective entry out of T apartments. It's some of the hardest entry work that you could be signed up for.
Keep an eye on it. That last round, though, seemed easy. Inter's would have been that to recover, but doesn't find it. And now, listen, we've got the upgrade here. Cloud9, Shiro, on and off. This AWP has been dominating from the challengers through the legends, and now hopefully into the championship stage. This would be the absolute worst time to lose the likes of Shiro. Even in their attempts to beat, let's say, Greyhound, Shiro was still leaps and bounds above. He's been dragging Cloud9, kicking and screaming through the start of this event, long enough for everybody else to start to activate.
They've interrupted some important protocols here on Banana. We saw the targeted attack on Frozen in the last round, that was successful. Here they tried to do it again, but when that window flash came out, they gave up after mollying Bell, and I think they wanted to try to swing on it. Now they're playing without information in a 5v5. But we know Cloud9 are very comfortable in passive setups. Let's see if they can stop this attack.
Ooh, Shiro didn't shoot. We're going to get nafany off of the oranges, at least deliver one. And utility protocol good. It kept the T's stunned. That shot landed. Dexter's wounded. However, still gets the headshot. It's nafany in with the hold as bomb goes down and the A site completely cleared. So as Shiro gets popped, we have nafany deliver. And as we were leading up to the championship stage, we had actually a couple of pop-off maps from nafany. And as he arrived at the stadium today, you know, James Banks gets in, says, hey, we've got our superstar in-game leader. How do you feel? The first thing he responded with, in-game leader, yes, superstar, no. But
nafany, in all of their interviews, makes sure to make it a point that he doesn't have expectations. And that's something that he carries with himself. And we look at James talking to Axel. Axel's more comfortable saying, I'm trying to win this thing, man.
Yeah.
I want this victory, and I see it and I want it. And I think maybe nafany for himself needs to make sure that he doesn't look too far ahead, respects his opponents, and that might be the way that he keeps his head in the game. And throughout Legends, the Challengers was kind of weak from nafany throughout Legends, which was actually a very difficult Legends run. Navi and then FaZe the first 2 games. He was one of the best players on the roster as an individual. So whatever he's doing, I think he should keep doing it. That round was also great. 2v4 hold on the B site, and they found Exertion lurking once again over on A. They've been using Exertion very aggressively, very frequently, either lurking or entering over on the A side.
Keep eyes on it as yet again he's at the helm of this. Hobbit, previous major champion, graces the server and
Feels like
Cloud9,
yesterday,
doesn't it?
I heard they rolled out the red carpet for him
when he went back to Kazakhstan.
Yes, I think
government met him there. So definitely a hero. JDC, point of contact outside short. We've got nothing on the side of Arch here for C9. It's a pasted setup on the B site. Again, and Exile starts to feel pressure here.
Again, versus these CIS lineups, they're so comfortable playing without info, and I don't give anybody else a break, honestly, when I'm casting, but when it comes to teams like Navi and Cloud9, if they go full passive, I know they still have a really good plan or a read. In this situation, 3, they're in good position with a double pit to stop a Halls pop as well as any lane split. Now, this is that Arch trap I was talking about earlier. MOUZ have very good dry run protocols, but 25 seconds, they actually can't go Arch anymore.
So now they have to come into what could be the meat grinder. Exile down at the hands of JDC, but Hobbit's right beneath him, pulling him inwards, and enters inside the site, holds it off. Oh, they get murdered by Hobbit. 4 from inside the pit, individual fights, just stutter stepping into him one by one. And for that reason, Hobbit, there's not a bead of sweat on his brow.
Yeah, and you can see him dancing around with that 3rd kill. I mean, he's really just playing the game as if there's nobody else around, not committing to any one big spray, being very calm about that Arch player who's coming around. Now, we did see a spot of brilliance there. JDC, hard kill. Again, so good on these angles. If I was to ask most entries, I think coming up lane, coming out of halls, some of the least fun parts of your job on any map, I would say. And yeah, this whole situation is well handled from there on out, because after JDC gets his kill, Hobbit's like, well, shoot, I wish my teammate got a kill first, then there could be a bait setup. They're not going to expect the double pit, and I'd be able to get 2 maybe on the cross, but he still manages to do the job all by his damn self.
If anything, it's just then enters that offers Hobbit that exact chance.
Now again, we switch over. Cloud9 actually shoot higher on T side, so one of the few maps where they do better even on T side, despite this, of course, the narrative that they've been their CT comebacks, because of course maps like Overpass and things like that are really highlighting it, and they come up so often in their vetoes.
Bit more of a brazen setup here from Cloud9, looking and peering down Banana, seeing it that's completely clear. pressing in versus what is the busted MOUZ economy.
They weren't bringing the fight down to heroic on Banana like they are right now versus MOUZ. So I think they feel confident that they can find Frozen and take him out. And I think the way they view it is if they take out Frozen earlier, then they're going to have a much easier round. Where I think they were less worried, I think, with heroic.
Now this is natural father instincts.
Yeah.
Take care of your kin. Lead them to death. As Hobbit primes the incendiary on the arch, MOUZ will finally round that corner.
That is something with these guys. I mean, they're always joking around.
Yes, the mood's always high. Hobbit, ooh, good amount of damage.
Oh, that flash
sets him
jump.
back up, and he mows down 3 players. Enters in with flash assists in abundance, and MOUZ are just gonna get stalled out over towards arch. B players coming. Exile warming up as they remain in the open. So sure enough, as expected, pistols mean absolutely nothing.
Hobbit remembering his training there, perfect spray control into a perfect flash dodge, into another great spray, never overcommitting at any point of this. Getting some headshots off the corner of the wall, but receiving some too, and so staying alive. Oh my goodness. It really do be your own homie.
Oh God.
Okay. It looks like he'll regret that decision later. Don't worry, we're going to get you home safe.
Yeah, you can't make that guarantee.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's like Hugo out in the ocean. I mean,
yeah, we're trying our best.
Yeah.
Shiro, we're not talking about pressing down into middle. Well, how about that? Presses through the apartments. We talked about JDC being utilized as that apartment entry. He doesn't even get to the CT's apartments. Door locked. And MOUZ fretting as they fall into the 5v4.
It's a comfy spot. You know, the entry's down in this round, so C9 can really take a pause. Let the round come to them. They were already in the 5v5 willing to chill for a bit. So we've got some of the kind of late round clear out grenades for Car in case they have any type of lurk here. And this buys them a window. Now we see a heavy rotation out of Cloud9, but they leave Shiro over on the B site. And now they'll start to walk it back. One of the symptoms of playing blind, but they still have numbers.
They're going to follow through. Shiro posted, ready to get a second. Flash finds him. nafany peeks in. He'll get the better of Frozen. Now they're going to go for the boost. Right in the nick of time. Bomb gets stopped by Hobbit. Excellently done through that. And while nafany's been toppled, it just falls on to Dexter. A valiant attempt here, 1v5. He at least gets that bomb down, but then enters, rotates through. That's 2 frags through the CT smoke. Talk about pressure without even knowing where or when it's coming from. MOUZ, that lead, now a tie.
We're getting relatively full-on attacks here from MOUZ, where they have lots of HP and grenades. Now we're starting to see Cloud9 find early pickoffs, which is one thing to soften up the attacks. But if you just tuned in today, you would think, oh, this is natural. Cloud9 are coming back into this game. But it has really been no small feat to stop MOUZ from getting 9, 10, 11 rounds on T-side Inferno at this event, whether it was Challengers or in Legends. And at the moment, Cloud9's game plan, I feel like, has really come together. We saw the first TK in round number 1 with the failed retake and load time on the bomb and thought, ooh, that's that Cloud9 that nafany was afraid of seeing today. But these last few rounds have inspired confidence.
Ooh. Frozen, statuesque. But cracking at the seams after that frag. Got a boost outside. C9. Again, just wait. It's going to have to be MOUZ to take control of this one, and off of the flash and smoke, they'll press into the porch. Exile rocks him. 2 kills easy. Inter's always there. And honestly, it's a nice clean shot from the lowest HP player of the MOUZ camp, but that also gets stopped again at the front of brackets. There is no forward momentum here from MOUZ. That one time they get up lane, it was the entire team trying to press in, and again, abrupt halts. When Cloud9 decide to pull the rug out from beneath them, we see MOUZ stopped at a certain point, whether that's the cross on CT towards B, again, that A site entry, or in this case, just the brackets.
They picked the line to draw, and they have rarely actually left it up to retakes. So a very salient observation. 14-3 right now for Hobbit. Maybe the most consistent overall. I mean, Shiro had an unbelievable challenger stage. 146 kills in 4 maps. I think 228 kills in 8 maps throughout the entire challenger stage. Numbers that you've never seen before. I mean, I can't count that high. But Hobbit, throughout every stage with a rifle in hand, has really kept up. He was on sale on Fantasy if you missed him.
Thanks for rubbing that in.
I forgot to do mine. So.
Oh, okay. Hobbit, speak of him. Pressured somewhat, but the util's healthy. Minute mark, and MOUZ start to carve out some information off the top banana. We've had Cloud9 in recent rounds get away from what was just that coffin and orange setup.
Now, we don't have any mollies to stop the attack, so there's always a threat they come through smokes. Hop just goes right into the arms of Shiro. Easy. And the flashes to counter on the attack. Hobbit waiting for a push. Damage goes in.
Dexter, he's already deep, and they know that Op is back there. Shiro manages to get a second on this hold while both the rotates go down. It is Shiro to try and keep C9 inside this B site. Man advantage in the post plant.
My God.
Smoke meeting them at CT. Inters and Axile trying to rotate. They are being flanked. Eventually, JDC will strike them down, assuming that by the time he gets into position, his teammates aren't already dead. Dexter off of his spot. We've got one in this close water, and they opt not to go boosting inwards. They think they can leave, but no, sir. Denied any further exit. MOUZ, they will get that entry, and it comes by way of Dexter.
Great rounds out of a great round out of MOUZ. Another rounds where they have the tools, they have the players to get away with like a full-on exec coming into the site. And again, to stop the attack, there was only smokes. It can be important to have mollies in that position. Here, also important for Frozen to not get tunnel vision trying to join up with the attack. There was trust in the hands of Dexter to make that progress through the site. He found his frags, and they had a very late flash for him as he came into the site to make sure they could kill Quad. He could have died in that moment, absolutely. So you better believe that MOUZ are still going to fight. And even though it's been a little streak from Cloud9, MOUZ are definitely still in this game.
How nice of them to serve up a reminder.
Cyclone standing behind them. Kind of one of the coaches that you think must be doing a good job.
Right.
Coming up from the MOUZ NXT lineup.
Oh, whoa. Right back at it. Oh, it's deadly. Perfect flash in from Hobbit. Expectant of the rat from underground. Porzy.
See that angle? Exposed to CT, not worried about it though.
All good. And who do you have to support? Shiro sees a sliver of exertion, chops his hands right off, and middle belongs to Cloud9. So they'll take that last round win personally, and they decide to throw their heaviest hitters straight down that mid lane. Axile excellently done, looked like nothing but confidence, and I would say even pre-existing information. So ready for that first player to jump back up, but JDC, hold your breath, because he's going off. And while he does get those first two, they'll see that open route, envisioning an attempt to entry over at that B site, 2 versus 5, in what was such a confident first fight from C9.
There's lots of time as well. C9 are reading this pretty damn well. Enters has his full set of utility and is starting to drop the counter utility as well. Mollies go down back site. Dexter, the hero of last round. JDC with the 2 entries now. What can they do?
Ooh, not cross for free. That much apparent. And nafany's going to go ahead and lock in those last 2 kills. So listen, props to JDC, bringing it back and making us think it's possible even.
He's so sharp on these T sides.
In the first 10 rounds, that one looked done.
It was a good effort for sure. Starting to wrap the half now, and I think another compliment to C9 for having so many different tempos. You know, the confidence from Axile as well to take that deep angle on underpass after killing the player holding from spawn. Just a perfect read on the default and what he actually has to be worried about, and not just simply covering all options. That's, of course, a sign of a great game plan. And so, well, C9, they started off slow. They got a feel for their opponent. They turned the pace up, and when they lose, they turned it up to 6. But now they're back to similar strategies of testing Banana a little bit, passive on the A site, and JDC, this is what he was specialized in.
Looked good last round. Can he do it here? Axile sees him flooding out. Inter's trying to help, but JDC locks into the little pit, and Axile decides to get Dexter over top. Still alive, and Inter's, of course, lending that critical helping hand. It's a singular point of HP, and Exertion waits him out. Bullets whizzing by him, but still there is a fight, and it comes by way of Torzy. Exertion gets the better of Hobbit. 1 HP was not enough to keep that one going, but Inters is pinned in the corner, being spammed in from lane. They've managed to crack it open, but they have to cross. Ooh, and Shiro misses the first shot, would have a chance at the second, loses the tracking, takes a chance. And what do you know? MOUZ have pressed through in what looked like such a dead situation.
Unreal spam in a cold from lane. That was real beautiful. That was one way to guarantee that trade, and while he didn't get the kill, I mean, it did something like 90 damage. Torzy had to fight to the nail just to get out of the holes, and Exertion from the pit. There are some time left on these trades to allow MOUZ back into the round, but they're the ones with less players, right? And dislodging pit after all of that efforts, I think, was the most important thing. So they could finally face forward onto the site, face forward onto Shiro, who was coming through Arch. They understood, making sure that they didn't overthink that situation. They knew the most important player in Axile had to die first, and then they could move forward with taking more duels. There it is, a good spot. We've got an emphatic Hobbit. I say emphatic loosely here. Hobbit, of course, just anytime he's looking a little bit energized, I'm going to call it emphatic.
That's fair.
But getting into the conversation, it's actually Shiro who's been the most emphatic, I would say, on the tack pauses. Would love to hear what kind of input he has.
nafany trying to press forward. He's in the right position. Just a matter of hitting it. Just a matter. And it gets taken away from him. Luckily, Shiro's set up there to trade it, but this could just transition MOUZ into a more aggressive A hit. And when they hit this site, they tend to succeed. Inter's predictably in the same position. Hobbit decides to get hella aggressive, and all the while we start to get that arch wrap. But look at your mini-map, CT surrounding this setup, and Hobbit, he's gonna hear Torzy leave from Boiler, ready as he watched smoke for a moment, slipping in between it all, and MOUZ don't know what's going on. Torzy pulls the trigger, instantly dead just as quick, and JDC will find Hobbit by surprise.
Low in the site is Inters with 46 health. He's tucked into a good spot. Rotation.
Same spot.
Yeah, the help is coming. I don't think he's getting spammed this time around, but he might just straight up lose.
He's a little deeper in. He gets the best of JDC. Dexter's going to burn him out of the open, but you always have to be worried about that op, and Inters doesn't move. Dexter straight up gets the kill. Shiro's going to start to round back around short. Dexter, gun in hands, but back turn. And with that chance, Shiro will not miss. He strikes him down to give Cloud9 that 7-6 advantage.
Yeah, that's well done from Shiro. It's another pretty precarious spot here for Cloud9, even with the opening duels in place. Okay, they didn't actually get it this time around, but you saw at the bottom of logs right there, they're sitting to wait for them to come through the smoke and dodge the flash and set themselves up for the perfect kill. And it still doesn't come their way, but Shiro finds the refrags. Shiro has been consistent. Shiro's hitting the hard shots. And this round belongs to him, I want to say. I don't think there's a single score line in this half. You know, barring like a 13-2, that would make me believe the game is over when we switch over. Both teams are going to put up a hell of a fight.
Every step of the way. JDC, tough spot here. But again, it's variation from Cloud9, and I really like that we alluded to the JDC setup. The specialism from him, but yeah, poke the bear, and it will tear you limb from limb.
What?
You welcome that one. Here's the press. nafany fully blind. Wow, somehow survives. It's a pistol out, a flash in front. Dexter gets him down. And Shiro, well, he kind of gets drawn into the open, missing 1 or 2 shots and giving Hobbit a chance to just clean this up. It looks scary, but he holds. Frozen a little bit further back. This could actually catch Hobbit off. No, sir. Nah, too sharp. Hobbit continuing in his winning ways, now 17-7. And it's going to be MOUZ with, well, about more of the same. Enters inside bomb site, Axile up towards Graveyard. And a nice slow flank coming through from Cloud9. Exertion awaits it. Unfortunately for him, he can't go help Torzy because he's worried about that flank. If Torzy can get one kill, then maybe they can get themselves flying into the A site for what feels like a 5th time. But they'll pull the cord on this one. They're going to give it up. They're going to allow Cloud9 to establish that 8th, and it just becomes about saving this AWP and AK.
Yeah, a little awkward, but yeah, the Torzy AWP's just too expensive to get back, so they'll give it a go to try to lock up a 7th round at minimum. And man, it's been a pretty competitive game, I would say. Like, you know, if this ends up 9-6, you still got to credit MOUZ for the quality of. Oh, is that Oni Pixel in that hood? Is that what it is? Okay. Recognize that face anywhere. This is
just sit down. Sit down.
Wow. You can't help but laugh in that situation.
No. Wrecked.
It was literally, somehow Axile has perfect crosshair placement when there's not even an angle. There's not even an angle there, and he still figures out where the head is.
Little bargain by for MOUZ to close out the 15th. Already again with some presence inside brackets. We've got Axile up in apartments. And JDC, you know, we give him credit where it's due. Played great, exceeded expectations even, but I think that last round is really just a sign of things that could come. If once we swap sides, it's more of that. Minute left in this offense here from MOUZ. Can't forget, they put 4 rounds up before Cloud9 got any. And then Rifles really turned the tail of this one.
nafany right now is getting a lot of free play off of this spot on the half wall, and they're still setting up to get him back. MOUZ obviously is too smart to let this go for free, but with so much time burned, MOUZ are getting shut out of the idea of taking the B side. I think nafany is smiling internally right now at the information gain. Oh my God, with the swing!
Oh, old M4A1S would get it, but he finds that pocket, and it feels like just because he was given all that space, that little, you know, sanctuary towards top banana, no wonder he gets comfortable enough to slide out and to chop them down. Would have been a 3-player mowdown, and now Axile feeling as though he can go forward as he damn well pleases. Ah, that A site's actually wide open for the taking, and what could have been a clean entry versus Hobbit would have let Frozen in. Instead, it's the burden bearer to take it. 19 kills, 7 deaths from Hobbit, and an excellent CT side from Cloud9. That is what we've come to expect from them. Let's see what they can offer on the offense.
Kogu, my man.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. How are you, superstar?
I'm drinking a little bit, watching the games. I'm gonna chill, but actually I might have to go to my sponsor job, so I'm rushing a little bit.
But what do you think so far of having a major in Brazil, man? You're a legend from the Brazilian scene. I bet you've wanted this for so long.
This is the first time that I go for a major, like on CSGO. Like it's never inside and never outside, and it's crazy. The crowd here in Brazil is totally different from everywhere. People like scream like crazy. They don't stop. They just don't stop. It's amazing.
And the fans, they still love people like you, right? They still remember the good old days. Everyone just loves Counter-Strike.
Yeah, everyone like most everyone who is older like have beer in the face. Go everywhere. Hey, come here. It's the the warm here, like is the people here is exactly.
Koga, it's a lovely pleasure to see you as always, man. Look after yourself. I'll see you soon.
It's a stellar CT side from Cloud9, exactly what we would have expected coming into this series. And MOUZ, well, they started strong, 4-0. Made you think for a second, that maybe they'd be stepping onto this stage and, you know, turning it all upside down. But they've got their work set out for them. A defensive half on Inferno isn't something that we won't expect MOUZ to put up. It just really boils down to Cloud9 and whether the individuals of Hobbit can continue to dominate, because that's what he just did in the first 15. Leaps and bounds above everybody else, and even the off conversation slides the way of Cloud9. Frozen, he'll find Inters. Torzi on the other side, applying pressure versus the bomb as he currently holds alone. Oh, but Shiro, that's two on the side of the smoke, completely cuts off what MOUZ had hoped to get going. That flank around mid, no sir. Bomb down and Axile point blank. Make sure it's C9, double digits right away.
Yeah, now it gets a little scary for MOUZ, who needed a little comeback, of course. They're used to actually winning off of their T sides, and I think on their CD side are still quite competent, but Cloud9 are no slouches. Like this is something that they understand. And again, when we watched them play against Heroic, they pulled off a T side that I could not have ever predicted to see. It was like we were in 2020 online in their room with their big couch behind them with Groove on the player cam,
chilling,
floating there at his own desk in the quiet. Yep. That's how well Cloud9 were playing in an arena versus Heroic, who before they played against Cloud9 in that 2-0 matchup looked insane.
In a head-to-head that always delivered.
That's something that's stuck with me in the days between Legends and now when it comes to talking about Cloud9 coming into playoffs. And we'll soon see if the T side kind of gives us that same level of substance that we saw versus Heroic. Incredible stuff if you missed it. Worth going back to watch. Or maybe you'll just see it again right here. We'll see.
Yeah, right. That's what we hope. Current B setup's nothing but Frozen. Still a young man, and yet so much experience on this roster. Longest standing member. That nade, yeah, that's gonna welcome a ton of damage versus Frozen. All he wanted to do was chuck a frag. Instead, he's sitting on a single point of HP as Cloud9 flood through this B site. Nice deagle damage though. Exertion can play the same game. He'll take Shiro down to 2 HP.
Frozen, more maps played than all 4 of his teammates combined.
Insane.
How many, and he's 20, how many can say that? Frozen looks like a rookie, you know, and it's like he has been one of the least talked about, consistent top players in the game. And that's partially because he's never had a team good enough to give him a spot in the top 20. Your team has to be good enough, even if you are good enough. And MOUZ Sports have always donated their not donate. I mean, they got some money from it. They try to stay cash positive. They've given away players to other teams. They've seen Nico, they've seen Kerrigan, they've seen Rops, they've seen Christian. Lots of great players in history have come through MOUZ Sports, but they've all also left. And Frozen, as the last kind of remnant of one of the major lineups that was the most consistent carry, has stuck on as a player who was just like Rops. He didn't get as much attention as Rops did because of the FPL accusations that Rops was cheating, all of that stuff. But Frozen just quietly chugged along as a player who, as was talked about in our interview before the game started, you know, he was grinding through FPL.
Egoless.
Diamond to Masters when he was 12 years old.
Yeah.
He's a phenom. He is a phenom. And this year, I mean, I think we're almost certainly going to get him in the top 20. He's been great. Right now, I mean, maybe a weird time to talk about it. 8-13. But if they come back on the CT side, you better believe it's going to have a lot to do with him.
So far, MOUZ, again, this is just the recycled buy of the last round, so we call it a freebie. Couldn't stop C9 from pressing into that B site. Not with Frozen. So little HP so quickly. C9 will make you sweat. They will press into all different positions. Your utility will be gone, and you wouldn't have seen a soul before all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. And right now, it's looking like Arch side's gonna be that battleground. Torzy, a talking point.
Nice tracking.
And he gets away with it, plus some damage onto nafany. He's gonna go right back in. Second servings, but he turns his back to nafany, and Shiro had already got back around the corner. Dexter fired his feet. It's gonna leave a man inside sight isolated. JDC, what can you offer? 25 seconds, a great distraction out from Library. Sight player seen, Axile's low, right there with nafany, but Shiro takes up the reins and charges through the sight.
Axile's spray is nothing short of unbelievable sometimes. He adjusts back about 45 degrees and makes it look like his mouse is in the starting position. Like, yeah, it's just a player who has half armor and a pistol shooting at him, but that's the Axile we have come to see really frequently this year. Maui called him best rifler of the year. He's not even the best rifler on the team right now at this major, but in the grander scheme of things, yeah. And in terms of higher peaks, I think if you asked Hobbit directly, he'd be like, yeah, Axile. Yeah, he's the guy who I expect in the beginning. When I saw the Na'Vi comeback match, 16-14, Axile 33 kills.
Yeah.
You know, but outside of that, has struggled here and there. You know he can do it and regularly is consistent, but Cloud9 doubters at this major have brought up that Axile's and Shiro's playoff stats. And it really is about betting against the past when it comes to them. Did we see enough in Legends where there was an audience, where there was pressure, where they were, you know, start out challenger 0-2 down on the brink of death constantly, had one of the hardest Legends stages possible? Was that enough to show that they are fine now on LAN? That felt like a playoffs to me, so that's kind of the question. Did it for them.
Add to it the stack of experience they gained in Dallas, where they said they have never felt like they were more at home. It all comes together here in Rio. We got guns up from Cloud9. MOUZ, let's see it. Right now it's a little bit of banana pressure. And the apartment's entirely under the feet of C9. They decide on their own to walk away, and Dexter, well, he's looking for a little something, as was Frozen, but with presence now being heard, he's gonna fall away from this. They could try to press through. nafany's looking at the entry. Nice grenade, though. Axile dropped to 46. It's gonna make it hard for him to follow up. Oh, Frozen and Torzy. Oh, it is all too easy. Woo. MOUZ, they just have Cloud9 trickle out of a smoke in front of them, uninspired, no players blind. They put them where they need to be, when they need to be, and with it, MOUZ a 7th.
Clearly, MOUZ knew exactly what was coming right there. They were pressed up both against Oranges and CT, ready to fight. Torzy jumps Coffins as well, looking for this duel. So coming out of both sides of the smoke, it's a novel concept. We've seen teams try to do it. I don't think you're often going to want entry into B site, having to run through a smoke, but they had a game plan for it. It just did not work out here at all. Look at the CT swarming on them. the trifecta of players and not, without any of them dying. There's no way to kind of make dealing with that crossfire any easier. So one player enters, saves an AK with enough money to buy on everybody else for Cloud9, and they've still got this 5-round lead in the game. So I think no sweat off the brow. Nice on Cloud9. Sorry, nice on MOUZ Sports, most importantly, for holding utility, using it at the right time.
Looked like all the internal timings on that last round was just all MOUZ. There's a life here on the CT side. That much we know. That's what one round win can tell us.
There it is, the pulse. Oh, that's a married to the game moment right there. Okay. Respect.
Yeah.
Just a little fun. They were both in on it. And look who's in on Banana. Frozen. He's getting Snoopy here. He was the guy on the attack, trying to do the same thing. And Axel's close up here. Oh my God, Dexter.
Let's go.
My God.
Finds Hobbit trying to just prance around the mid setup. Frozen, very much stuck in behind sandbags. nafany trying to hone in on him. Axel's been hit. Look at this. Look at all the damage stacking up against Cloud9. And Frozen still just thrives on top until nafany runs in. Lucky to be alive. But his nade just bounced back. It hit the door frame. An unlucky smoke pings off of the wall. And with that, they can't continue forward here. nafany would have loved to try to find another kill. He's the only member of C9 this round to offer anything. And that utility bombardment on Banana was the demise of Cloud9 in round 20.
Gotta appreciate that little one-way smoke that Frozen throws to the in front of the sandbags. Gets up on top of it. Doesn't get 2 kills, of course. nafany's the one to find the trades, but they made that very hard to approach him. And the smoke missing is one thing, but we also had Torzy miss a very easy shot. He had a great setup for that attack coming through CT spawn. Felt like he was going to win that round straight off. And it kicks off right here with Dexter in the hard angle. nafany playing well is an important storyline here for Cloud9. Oh, there we go.
Redemption.
There we go. It was all a ruse. It's all scripted here in Rio.
Honestly, with Cloud9...
We got Furia into playoffs 3-0. You think that was an accident?
No. We got Cloud9 being beaten by Greyhound and then not dropping a map yet.
To kind of set up the old Cloud9.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't have to miss the old Cloud9 anymore.
They're back.
Straight to the go Cloud9. There it is, Shiro. Italian Shiro.
Yeah.
Coming in with the comms.
Look at him go.
Red beans and ravioli, Shiro. Talk to them.
Into the double fist bump. You berate them, and then you build them back up again. Shiro, the foundation of Cloud9's firepower throughout this event. Again, just never before seen consistency.
I think he's a Chad as well.
Trying to take him to a whole new level. Trying to prove that Cloud9 can do it at majors. In Antwerp, they fell in a spectacularly unexpected fashion. Redemption in Rio thus far. Dexter, love it. Gets aggressive, plays into the apartments. He's got players right outside, but they have seen him. So Dexter knows when a game is too dangerous. And he starts to peel himself away. But Shadow spotted. Hobbit, easy, gonna gun him down. He's trying to reach for that M4. And sure enough, adds it here to the collection of rifles. Cloud9 will swing in round 21.
Yeah.
Shiro didn't see anybody.
Now it's about adding time to the clock. They picked up a gun where they didn't know if they would find one. This kill, oh man, MOUZ Sports. This is their map pick. They just won a great round and a couple of rounds here on CT to make this comeback. But you better believe, even with the guns here, they're going up against one in the site. Exertion playing for retake protocols, and they're going to come through this.
That they will. This time with a smoke in front, but at least the incendiary holds them back for a couple extra seconds. It allows Frozen to add himself and really sets up Exertion to shine. Quick trade back from Hobbit.
Oh, they waited. Another gun goes down.
Stalled and stuttered. And still they follow through.
No one in CT to nade the plant. MOUZ Sports, one of the highest retake percentages, the highest retake percentage of any team here at the Major.
Well, let's see it. Inter still standing on the ledge. Axile pressed into the pit. Hobbit showing nothing as Shiro continues to hold flank. There will not be a CT from this direction. JDC takes it into his own hands, gets wrecked by Hobbit as he finally decides to emerge from back sight. And while Torzi's connecting shots at this point, they're all coming at him. 2 hit, and Shiro, well, he'll push C9 over the edge into that 13-8 realm. But can we say it again? Hobbit, every time they need him, steps up from behind quad, gets himself, again, a little buffer, 22 and 12.
Yeah, and just his Tech 9 frag, not only the opening kill, the closing frag, or one of them, and just hunting down this gun is too much. It's way too much to give up on an anti-eco. This is tough sledding for MOUZ. It really did start to, I feel like, win some confidence back and scare Cloud9 a little bit. But after a round like that, 13-8 now, it suddenly feels like it's Cloud9's game to lose once again. Now the CTs will call a timeout. They've actually got some calculating to do because they have money, but there are going to be some concessions. Poor exertion here on just an MP9. The out from Torzi hasn't been, that actually had a couple of rounds. It's just that he takes a high percentage of shots and he still manages to have a big round in there, but he's not hitting all of them and he's missing some easy ones. So it makes him hard to kind of figure out whether or not he's doing enough. Quite a great team around him. So this team isn't all about the op like he thought it would be when Torzi joined the team. And that much is cool.
Yeah, that kind of was like the trailer for Torzi when he first joined. That's what we all came to expect. It's what we got as well, to be fair, right? Few months of just excellent play.
Psychologically, the other problem for MOUZ in this round specifically, it is going to be crystal clear how much they have to go up against. This is the first in Cloud9 we're talking about. They know if they win this round, it's like almost literally match point. So if they weren't sweating enough already, I mean, they're going to have to take a shower after this round because you know they're going to squeeze it for everything that it's worth. And that means trying to even get as many kills as possible, even if they lose. They're keeping MOUZ on the brink with every little bit of strategy on top of having a big advantage straight off. And now they've got 3 attracted to B. We're looking for a B retake right now in this in-between timing, and Cloud9 are trying to beat that timing with A hit.
But it looks like they are going to, assuming that they can follow through, assuming that the double Balk setup doesn't shred them. JDC turns away, still he gets nafany. The fallback's there for him. Dexter in with another. Inters hunts the second kill, but JDC awaits him. It's such little HP for Inters that JDC comes up with the reload, and Hobbit, well, point blank, he gets wrecked. Shiro turns it back towards short, and now on the escape, oh, it's over top the wall.
Wow.
John De Castro puts up 3 and keeps MOUZ in this with, as you alluded to, what's most important, weapons, right? Economy on the line. They're moving forward with it.
That was a chance right there. 2 double on balcony with a bait, and the first player scaling sees both actually. nafany tries to corroborate this information, but JDC staying alive in pit underneath the guise of Inters, Hobbit dying in the smoke right here. Everything just falls apart. There was no real advantage for MOUZ when that attack came on. Cloud9 got them to stay B. They beat the retake timing. They hit the A site. They flashed the 2 players that were sitting there, and they still couldn't win. And now, well, now MOUZ Sports have a chance to get into that dignified territory of double digits.
A couple of flashbangs for Axile. Exertion justifiably taking a bunch of space for free. He sits within those smokes. This is going to keep MOUZ on high alert. Torzi, missed shot on the jump over. Dexter being set up. Ooh, nice and easy. 2 off of the M4. Shiro with the Glock out. Looking for a little more damage here. It's all going to count towards something, but JDC swings out. And that, again, it's a lead, and it's a buyback soon enough. But for the time being, MOUZ are putting up what they had to.
Yeah, you know, they're still working the map really well. They still look good. I don't think they're at all worried, but MOUZ are proving they've still got. I think the most important thing, actually, funnily enough, is just MOUZ to prove they can keep up with players who, well, they'll have multiple instances of top 20 players on the team of Cloud9, right? I think that's the actual thing right now. It's the Cyclones' first major playoffs against Groove. They're shooting for tournament victories. They already won Dallas this year. I mean, it's about keeping up 1-for-1 with the guy on the other side of the map. That's in your role. Exactly. You know, it's Exertion to Axal. It's Torji to Shiro. There's not one single player where you're like, MOUZ have the better version. And well, what they have shown is they got here because they've been the better team. In that previous round where they get outplayed and they still win, you've got to do that in order to beat good teams, because you will get outplayed sometimes, and they pulled it off. So let's see if they can really set things in motion and take away Cloud9's money once again.
Deadly rifle combo. Exertion and Frozen playing around Banana, but again, Cloud9 just sit on the other end of it. We've seen them stuffed at the B site. We've seen them follow through with the B site. It boils down to how much health they have as they get to the front of it and whether that closest support is in position. Frozen already moving back over.
Sometimes you force a team to gamble if they get tired of going through those protocols, because we saw C9 try to cheat them last time. So instead, MOUZ are not playing 3B. They're ready for this A hit. They've got eyes on mid.
It's going to be a crunch. Dexter eyes up. Ready for the first fight. Nice and clean. Won't be able to finish off Hobbit, but now it's Torzi's chance. We can't see missed shots, and we don't. He finishes the little that was left of Hobbit. JDC presses in. Woo! Best enters heads up. And with 25 seconds, they're going to try to get into the bomb site. Axile has not been given a target. Torzi decides to take the initiative, and Shiro simply has to walk away.
Good call here from MOUZ. Perfect position. Even though Dexter goes 1-for-1, he gets the info. Torzi stays alive on lane, deep angle. They're waiting for the fight. They're not trying to peel back and go for retakes and wait for rotation, so you have to appreciate that. MOUZ knew what they were signing up for. And it wasn't the strongest defense to kick things off, but it was good enough. And that final molly getting missed on top of the halls to make sure that JDC can't get back out is what just ends the attack completely. Good moves here from Torji. Easy one here on Axel, not letting him be the aggressor. And it is a 2-round game.
With nothing but an AK in the hands of Shiro.
That's got to feel good.
Oh, nice headshot.
Woo, what a trade. Actually, Exertion. Wow, I don't even know how he did that.
Kept it clinically clean. Smoke down again, keep him staved off, keep him starving here for anything. There's no rifles, there's no armor. Oh, but not everybody needs it. Hobbit, hell of a shot. nafany just runs around the corner, tries to grab the gun instead. And that'll be one member of MOUZ reconfirmed. But seeing as it's JDC, who tends to lend himself to apartments, I think it makes absolute sense for Cloud9 to try and press through here. They don't have a flash to get out from pit, so JDC should, emphasis, should be able to just sit in that bomb site. But as he goes for the reload, that's when they start to trickle out. C9 have found timing!
Hobbit again!
Double deagle, what a round! And Exertion, well now he's met by smoke. This was Shiro with an armored AK and the rest of Cloud9 with nothing.
Not again. Not for 14. MOUZ have to think about this. Gap on the smoke, but no mistakes right now. They can come into the site.
They're going for it, and Axile's just waiting for the jump up. That's all he anticipates. It's all he wants. He is staring at the sky, praying, and now, oh, he jumps at the same time. Exertion's weapon simply better. He's gonna pick up the kill. We've got this push in. We've got a smoke. We've got cover, but we've also got Hobbit, and leave it to him to hold the burden of all.
There he is.
He stands taller than anybody else and shreds them one after another. 4 kills on an unarmored deagle to put C9 on 14.
Posterized with a $700 gun. Wow. So many targets pinned to the wall. But we're talking about 3 shots, 4 shots straight up. Hobbit hits 27, Cloud9 hit 14. And MOUZ hit the brink of defeat, at least emotionally. They're throwing it all in on this round.
Talk about impact. In addition to what was the Gambit youngsters, the one experienced player added to this formula to elevate them to a whole new level. The only major champion in this server with the world-class 4K on the Deeg. Now still working with pieces. MP9 FAMAS, double M4 AWP, and C9 maybe having felt what was once an open balcony. They're going to try to find that timing again. It worked out wonderfully last attempt. Dexter's MP9 is being helped out by JDC, but Dexter's dead, and JDC still looking to hang on, won't be able to. Not with Hobbit firing that sharp. Another headshot comes through, and a bomb plant now inevitable. We've got this press in from middle. Exertion trying to puff his chest, trying to serve up the distraction, so maybe timing can lend its hand to Frozen, to Torzy, to MOUZ. But silently they scuttle away, back to underneath the floorboards. At this point, all they want is safety, and Cloud9 have broken through that A site yet again. 15 locked in, and 4 map points on Inferno.
Oh, all the halls pop right there, and that's MOUZ full investment. I mean, something changed. Hobbit hit that 27th frag, that Deagle round into the next. A very clean and fast call. It's not thorough. They don't work too much map control. They just go for it, and nafany out front. They take pit. CTs get flustered, and Cloud9 are about to win MOUZ's map pick.
Oh, nafany eats that flash, turns back at it as Axile's throwing the entry support. Doesn't matter, got wind of Dexter. And the AK graced him with a headshot. Last timeout called here from MOUZ. Whether they win this round or not, Cyclone no longer having any chances to just pump those brakes. Buy's gonna be abysmal.
Yeah, they can try to predict what Cloud9 want to do, but they've had so much variety in the way that they've attacked. It'll be proved to be difficult, I think, if they figure this out. They got the money for Torzy's favorite gun. That's something. Well, it's getting scary. It's gotten scary. It's getting desperate.
The most horrifying piece of it all is Hobbit. And yet again, here he goes. Unwinding onto Exertion top banana. Frozen lies in wait. Look at this, peeling already all of MOUZ away from that A site. They are so worried about the follow through here from Cloud9, and honestly, it's not a bad call, not for the time being. Interruptive utility thrown out, and silence from C9.
It's about to be a dogfight here on the B side.
Torzy lands it, but nafany survives. And having seen that op, is it enough to peel it all back? Are they going to send any kind of a scout party over towards that A site?
They seem so nervous about the fact that Torzy just showed his face there after the rifle went down at the top of Banana. But on the scout here is nafany, and I'm not talking about the weapon. He's going to try to gain some information and either get a kill, find out how many are here, or bring his team back.
Time is critical.
Yeah, we'll see if he catches this.
Looking to follow through with still 3 members of MOUZ in position. Ooh, the flashes find their home. But it's Axile to take down Frozen. Meanwhile, that A fight goes down the way of MOUZ, so now they fixate into B. Hobbit, with such little health, continues, but Dexter's back at it, and he gets chopped off by Shiro. It needs to be Torzi, and he was so preoccupied on the other side of this map that you'd think he has no footing left in this one. MOUZ's pick of Inferno. He hopes, and another miss could spell disaster. A second chance at life versus Hobbit, but there comes Shiro from the corner, and there goes Cloud9 to map 2 with one already in their pocket.